Hi everyone, my name is Doug DeVos and I serve as the chair of the Communications Committee for the West Michigan Policy Forum. And I'm here with Jase Bolger, who is our policy expert, and he's a policy expert because he was a former Speaker of the Michigan House of Representatives. Jase, we got a lot of topics to talk about, and we're talking about workers and benefits, and we're talking about how do people get ahead in the jobs they have, in the life that they're living. How do they get ahead from a policy perspective? What are the sorts of things that Lansing needs to do so that people can move forward?
I think the best way is to make Michigan a better place to provide a job, because then employers are competing for workers. And when employers are fighting over trying to keep and attract workers, then workers do better. They do better with their pay, they do better with their benefits. If you go back, there was a time in Michigan where we tried to mandate from the top. And when you mandate from the top, boy, if government does anything well, it masters unintended consequences. So the more it mandated of employers, the more employers it drove away, the more unemployment we had, and the worse workers did.
Yeah, and that's always the rule that kind of comes through, because in the free market, when you have to compete and there's supply and demand, you're doing a lot. I know in my business experience, finding the right people is always critical to any business, to any opportunity. And you're motivated to find the best in a free market. When you have mandates, you're always working about then managing costs versus creating opportunity, creating better goods and services for the marketplace, challenging your pricing because you're going to have price competition in the marketplace, and then increasing the way you think about bringing in and keeping a workforce, because you want those people because it's a competitive marketplace.
You know, that's exactly right. If you're an employee looking for work and you really are hurting because there's not enough jobs available, of course you take whatever pay is offered, because at that point you need a job. Now, if you have a job and there's other opportunities, better opportunities, well, then you can negotiate with an employer and get an even better salary than they might have been offering you. Not to mention things like paid leave, not to mention work-life balance. The ability for the employer to offer the kind of benefits package that you want, instead of one that's mandated by politicians for other reasons that might not work for you.
It's always so important to be able to leave the choices as close to the worker, as close to the operator as well, because sometimes you can create a division between employees and employers, but really it's a symbiotic relationship. They have to work together. There's no way, coaches and players have to figure out how to work together, or else you're not going to win. Same thing on a sports field, same thing in the marketplace.
That is so true, that employers who want to succeed want happy employees. Absolutely. Need productive working employees, and that does work best when both people are working together, when they're working hand in hand. And that's where those kind of benefits can really come out, that an employee wants, that they want to design with their employer. Because again, some people have, whether you have a family, you might have one set of goals, one need for sick leave. If you have no family at home that you've got to care for, you might want more paid time off. You want to have more vacation time. And for the employer and employee to be able to figure that out together, that's where it works best, rather than the one size fits all. The other thing I'd mention is that a lot of those regulations become red tape for employers, and what we see is big employers can handle that. That's why there's a lot of times where the laws get passed or regulation get put in place. You almost see big companies shrug their shoulders because they'll deal with it. It's the small employers. It's the person who's trying to start out on their own, who's actually trying to compete with some of those big employers. They're the ones it strangles.
And that's that's so important for us to remember, because a lot of people can't go to their legal staff or talk to the accounting team. I remember being in a meeting where someone said, for a lot of big business executives, you guys walk through doors, there's hundreds of people on the other side in this room, but for most people, for 80+% of the businesses throughout the state of Michigan, it's the sole entrepreneur, it's a small family business, it's a few people that are trying to figure out how to make sure the employees get paid, that the business stays competitive, and that they continue to attract and keep those great employees, and becomes an atmosphere that's a family atmosphere. That sort of thing, and all the benefits you talked about, all the ways to think about benefits for different employees with different life stages, different career stages, are important to be able to allow the businesses to figure that out.
And to find the match and find the need, meet the need of their employees, and to have the flexibility to even do that within their same company. You could have one employee who wants higher pay, who needs less time off, and another employee wants more work-life balance, and they say, you know what, I'll take less salary if you give me more time off. What works for that employee and the employer, when they can work that out themselves, you're going to find employees do far better than when they've got a one-size-fits-all mandate that's decided by some politicians a long way away.
What's the role of education in this? I mean, we have a lot of state employees, which are primarily teachers. We have a lot of that we spend as a state in this area. How does the employment or the education system connect to opportunities for workers and benefits?
Well, we could talk about K-12 education, but that's kind of its own topic. But education, I think, is a lifelong learning endeavor. And I think employers and employees can and often do work together when left alone to do that, to find those opportunities to upskill, to transition to other jobs and opportunities, to have somebody grow within their company. Because if I'm an employer and I've got a good employee, I want to keep them growing within my company. I want to keep them working for me, not going to a competitor.
That's exactly what we did too. In our business experience was the same thing. But what do you do? What's the certificate that you can gain? How do we train you? How do we send you to a certain spot, whether it's a specific industry or a type of work or more general education, whatever it may be. But we had that opportunity to work with the employee to make that happen. So it suited their needs and the company's needs and created better opportunities for both.
Well, that's absolutely right. And as you look at occupational licensure, for a lot of cases, a lot of times regulations like that get in the way as barriers to competition. And so we go back to those small employers, those people who are starting up a business to compete. Too often those regulations get in the way and prevent them from doing so. They don't help the general public at all.
Yeah, free markets, empowerment for the individuals and for the workers. Great topic. Thanks, Jase. Hope you find that information helpful, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.